is up, guys? And today we're going to be making another video. I'm going to be showing you how to change your brake pads on your 2003 to 2007 Honda Accord. This can apply to the Acura TL, Acura TSX, Acura whatever it is called. All these cars that are Honda Acura related, they all pretty much have the same brake pads, rotors, caliper, very similar suspension setup. I'll put up on the screen which ones are very similar. So what you guys need is some jack stands like that, and then you're gonna need the jack like that, the floor jack. I'm gonna show you how I lift it. What I do is I go underneath the car and I'll look for the subframe, and I grab it by the subframe. So I'll start jacking it up, and once it's off the ground, the car, I will take the jack stands right here and I'll put them underneath the subframe instead of the pinch welds, because some of your cars could be rotted out or not. In my case, it's not. Mine's are fucking immaculate. I'm just doing that because I prefer a frame over the body in terms of jacking it up. But once I'm done jacking it up, I'll be back and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, once you guys got your car jacked up, I have it on the subframe, as you can see it right there, and I got the rubber on top of the metal piece right there. Make sure you have the jack stands holding the car up. And what I did was I ever so slightly have the floor jack holding the subframe. It's not like lifting it above the jack stands, but it's just holding there just in case the jacks go out. So if you have it like this, you should be good. And then when you're done with that, you want to go in the car, you want to give it a really good shake. You want to make sure it's really nice and sturdy so you can be working in a safe environment like this. Give it a really good shake. It ain't going nowhere, as you can see. So yeah, that's how you have your jack stands up. Make sure you put your car in neutral, and you put your handbrake up all the way because you don't want it to roll back. And for extra safety measures, I recommend everyone to do chalk something in the back, like put a piece of wood or like a stone or cinder block or these rubber blocks so it doesn't roll back, and you should be good. So you guys have your car jacked up and it's all ready to work on. What you're obviously going to need is all these tools that I have right here. As you can see, everything: socket set, C-clamp, breaker bar, your security lug nut if you have one, adjustable wrench, a wire brush if you have one, and if you prefer, you can use this too. But most importantly, the brake pads, because that's what we're doing on this video. What you want to do is, if you got an impact gun like I do right here, for my lug, this is a 3/4 size, as you can see. You could do this with a breaker bar too. Just loosen them up like that and just break them loose just like that. If your car is manual and your thing is spinning like that, put it in gear and use the breaker bar. It should break it loose, but since we have an impact, we don't have to do that. So how you do it is, you're gonna loosen it, you're gonna do this just like that. Lug came out, actually got stuck. Just hit it on the ground, should come right out. Bam, like that. Now let's do the next one. So when your wheel is stuck, you obviously want to kick it from the top like that. In my case, I don't, because this car's not rotted. It just comes right off. Take your wheel off just like that. Put it somewhere so you can sit on it if you want. And there you go. You have your brakes right there. This is a 14mm, by the way. You take your wrench and you just gotta loosen it. Gotta get some torque on there. They're pretty tight. It's not going anywhere, actually. Oh wow, I think up is tightened. If you want more torque, you can get a pipe on there and try to break it loose, or you can just break it loose like that. I just did it like that. All right guys, once you got this loose, and if you're having trouble with it, you have a bolt right here as well that's holding the pin for the caliper. You want to put it in there and fit it in there and loosening it like that. So you're gonna get it out. Bam. Don't lose these, put them somewhere. This is your caliper pin, by the way. And same thing goes for the bottom one, just like that right there. All right, once you have those two out, you might have to wiggle it, hit it a bit. But once you have it off like that, you want to take it and you want to hang it somewhere and put it on top of here. If you're doing rotors, because you can look at this video and use it, there's a screw right here and right here. Be careful, this is actually Phillips. Make sure you don't strip it. Use a really tight bit in there and these should come off. You might have to pound this around here if it's stuck on there to get them off, but taking the rotor is really easy. But this bracket right here, the metal bracket that holds the calipers, there's a bolt right here that holds them in. That's a bigger one. I think that's a, hold on, let me get my socket set. I think that is a 17 millimeter right here that holds them in. So yeah, but for these caliper pins, these are 14 millimeters. You're gonna take them out, obviously, like that. I'd put them actually on the ground, just so you remember what side is what, so you don't put them on backwards, because you could put your brakes on backwards. Or the best way to know for this car is the metal piece that's sticking towards this way, this one goes on the back, and the one without it goes on the front right here. So when you get these out, the pads, they might be stuck in there pretty good, but in my case it looks like they're pretty decent. Sort of, kinda. Like that, bam. These pads actually have a lot of meat in them. I'm replacing them because I don't care. But you got your brake hardware right here, the clips. You just take them out like that. Same thing for the top one right here. Bam. You'll know what way they go on. And since you got your caliper loose like that, make sure it doesn't fall or anything. And you want to open the brake master cylinder. It's right here on this car. Not this one, this is the clutch master cylinder. Just want to open it like that. You might have some fluid spill out, but that's okay. Just clean up the excess. Since you're putting in brand new brake pads, you're definitely going to want a C-clamp for this. Preferably 6-inch, but I got a 4-inch right here. Just want to take it. You want to grab it by the back of it. Just want to twist it. And you're going to want to push this all the way in, this whole caliper. But they also make a kit to also push them into, it's like a little trigger thing, and it pushes it in. You could do that too. This is just more on hand because that's just what most people have in their garage. So you're just going to push this in like that. Make sure it goes in all the way, like that, until it bottoms out. Bam, mine's bottomed out. It should look something like this, as you can see. It should be all the way in. This is all the way bottomed out. And just continue to hang it right there. Alright guys, you can take your brake caliper mount right here off. You can take it off. It's the two 17 millimeter bolts. It'd be easier to clean. So where you want to clean is right here, right here, right here, and right here. You could take a brush, just clean it off like this. This will take longer obviously, but it's doable. Or you can take your drill like that with a wire brush and you can clean the inside. Alright guys, once you have your mount cleaned really nicely like this, it's nice and shiny, nice and smooth. If you want to, you can put some brake grease on there too. That'll help it if you would like. I'm just gonna leave them like this because they're gonna slide better. Alright guys, so the brake hardware that came with these brake pads, for some reason these are actually a little bit wider than these, and when I put them on the mount they just rub against the rotor. I don't know what's up with that. I'm gonna have to reuse these. I actually did the brakes like 6,000 miles ago, so these are still pretty decent. They're in pretty good shape. I'm just gonna clean them up. You can reuse yours if you would like, just clean them up and stuff, or I don't know, but I don't know why they sent the wrong ones, but the pads fit perfectly fine. It doesn't make sense to me. Alright guys, I had to go to the auto parts store. I actually stripped out my caliper mount right here, one of the threads. Be very careful when you're tightening this because you can strip it out, even though this is cast iron. If you use too big of like a bar for it, a wrench, you can break it. Just do it snug. I'm going to show you how to do it. So since I got the new one in, it looks really nice. I don't have to paint it or anything. I still have to use the old brackets however because they still don't want to fit. You can just clean them up and they'll be okay. But what you definitely want to do from your old brake caliper mount, you have these pins in here. They just go in like that right here on the rubber. What you want to do is you definitely want to get some brake grease on there. So how you do it is you got yourself some brake lubricant. You take it, put it on here like that, and then you just rub it all over the place inside of here like that. You want, these ones are pretty good shape. I don't have to replace them, they're not rotted out inside, so you can reuse the old ones if they look good. If you want to reuse them, you can just take a wire brush, clean it all off really nicely, and they'll be fine, because you can reuse these components if you would like, or just go buy new ones. In my case, I'm just gonna reuse them because they're in great shape. So when you have them like that, you take your mount like this, and you're gonna put it inside of there. Make sure they move freely like that. That's how it should look like. Very nice and smooth like that. All right guys, once you have your pins all lubricated like that, all nice like that, you'll be able to put your brackets back in like this. Make sure they go in all the way, all nice and good like that. Bam. Wow, these actually fit better on this caliper than the other one. How ironic, actually. Put them in like that. Make sure to touch all the way right here. They're flush. Get the clips over. A little bit difficult, but once you get it, they're in. It's all good. Bam, they should look something like this. All right, let's install it. All right, once you have them all like tightened in by your fingers, you take the ratchet and make sure this is just snug, so you don't strip it like how I did last time. Like that, snug. Other one, same thing. Just like that, bam, it's on there. Make sure your clips aren't touching the rotor or rubbing at all. Make sure they're in all the way, nice and good, like that. Check the top one too, so there's no brake noise. If you want, you can spin your rotor too, if your hands are clean. I don't hear no noise, so that's good. Make sure your hands are clean when you put on the pad so you don't get any grease. And if you get any grease, just take a rag or something and wipe it off. All right, once you're done with that, you want to take your pads. This one right here will go on right here. The one with the metal clip right there, that one goes right there. Should just slide in real easily like that. Bam, slid in very nicely. And this one right here, it just goes in right here without the metal clip. Should just slide in real nicely. These are new, this is a whole new mount, and these are new brake pads. I don't know why I can't talk today, but the clips might be a problem, so you got to fiddle with them a little bit. Maybe get them from the bottom right there, as you can see. In here, bam, should look just like that. Make sure they're all good. Maybe spin them over a little bit like that. Make sure there's no contact with the clip rubbing anywhere, so there's no noise. But when I'm spinning them, I just hear the pads like that. Looks all good. All right, once you're done putting on your pads, you're gonna want to obviously put on your wheel. So you want to take it and line it up with the bolt holes. Then you take your lug nuts. All right, now once you got your lug nuts, hopefully you didn't lose them like how I did. You start to put them in by hand like this. Make sure they go in well, because if you put them in by hand, you can't strip them because they'll bottom out. And you want to do them in a cross pattern. Of course, you're going to tighten these, and make sure the wheel is all the way seated to the brake rotor too. You can take the 3/4 socket and use that too. You don't have to really do it by fingers, but I just prefer it this way. So you just do it like that. You do a star pattern all the way around like this. stock, you guys, if you want to get them all the way bottomed out with your fingers, because the wheel has to be touching the inside of the rotor, so it'd be seated flush. Because you're not going to strip them out with just your fingers. It is touching the brake rotor right here. It's flush with it. Now you can take your breaker bar, whatever you're going to use, and you can zip them up. But obviously it's going to spin, so you obviously need to lift it up, the car, take the jack under, and make sure the tire is touching the ground. All right, guys, let's get to the torquing now. So obviously it's going to be a cross pattern, so you want to start like that. However, you got to do a start pattern, so like that. So we're going to start with this one. Just tighten it down. Just make sure it's just snug, nothing too tight, just snug like that. So bam, you gotta do this now. Just don't hold the bar all the way down from the end. Snug like that, pretty good. Bam bam. Then you take your anti-theft lug nut, put it on your socket there too. No, actually you gotta find it so you can put it on there. Bam, just like that. Just do them snug like that. So we went like this, this, this. Now we go here. Same deal again. All you're doing is snugging them a little bit tight, like that. Here. Snug them up like that. If you want to make sure again, just go over again. Alright guys, once you're done doing the whole car, doing all your brakes, it's all the same procedure on the side. Driver's side, passenger side, doesn't matter, it's all the same. Make sure you close your brake master cylinder or fill it up if it's low, and if it overflow, just clean around it, take some out a little bit. Make sure just up to this line. But yeah, the way you close it is like this, like that, bam, it's all good. Alright guys, once you're done doing your brakes, make sure you start the car like that, and before you go drive, you want to pump the brakes. You'll feel some resistance to the floor. Make sure it's going to be hard before you go drive, because you will not have brakes if you don't do this. So pump it like that. You should be good now. Alright, let me put it in gear. First gear. Brakes work. Alright, reverse. Brakes work. All good, guys. Alright guys, I hope you liked this video. Like and subscribe for more content, and see you guys in the next video. Peace!